The sun was only a pale line across the eastern mountains when Akira opened his eyes. The small hut he lived in at the edge of the village was cold, but the air inside felt heavy in a different way, heavy with exhaustion. He had not slept well in weeks. Every morning felt like dragging a mountain behind him. Every night, he collapsed like a broken cart. He was 21, a craftsman's apprentice, but more than that, he was a dreamer. He wanted to be the greatest woodcarver the village had ever seen. And because of that dream, he worked harder than everyone he knew. Too hard. He had been pushing himself for months, trying to complete a set of ceremonial statues before the annual festival. The task was difficult, the deadline tight, and the expectations enormous. Everyone trusted him. Everyone praised him. And praise was a hunger stronger than food. But praise was also a trap. Akira felt as if he were burning from the inside, used up, hollow, like a candle consumed too quickly. That morning, when he opened the workshop door, he saw Master Daisuke sitting inside. The old man rarely visited anymore. He was retired, living quietly in the hills. But today he sat on a stool, hands folded, watching the unfinished statues. Akira bowed. "Master, forgive the mess. I was not expecting." "You are burning out," the old man said quietly. Akira froze. "I'm working hard. That is all." Working hard is not the same as walking the way. Akira swallowed. He wanted to protest, but he felt too tired, too caught. Master Daisuke tapped his cane against the floor. "Today you will come with me. Leave your tools. But the festival, the statues will wait. Your spirit will not." Something in the master's tone allowed no argument. Akira followed. The mountain path. They walked along a narrow path climbing toward the forest above the village. Akira kept glancing back at the workshop, feeling guilt gnawing at him like a stray dog. When they reached the tree line, Master Daisuke stopped. "Sit." Akira obeyed. The forest smelled of pine and cool stone. Somewhere a stream murmured. The master lifted a small leather pouch and handed it to him. Inside was a slim book, old, the edges browned with age. "Do you know who Miyamoto Musashi was?" the master asked. Akira nodded. "A great swordsman, the undefeated duelist." And the master pressed. "A philosopher, author of the Book of Five Rings." "Good." Musashi walked a path of mastery, not exhaustion, the master said. "His method is the antidote to burnout. You will learn it." Akira hesitated. "What does a swordsman have to do with my carving?" "Musashi's wisdom is not about fighting," the master replied. "It is about life. About how to stay sharp without breaking. About how to carry great burdens without collapsing." "You are collapsing, Akira. And you do not even see it." The wind rustled above them. Musashi said. The master continued, "Do nothing that is of no use. But your burnout comes from doing too much, not of what matters, but of everything." Akira lowered his head. The master took the book from him, opening it gently. "I will tell you a story," the master said, "because you learn through stories better than lectures. Listen carefully. The story is not only about Musashi. It is about you. Too, the story of the young warrior. Long ago, before Musashi became a legend, he was simply a boy, rough, angry, ambitious. He wanted to be the greatest swordsman alive. But wanting something and reaching it are not the same. Musashi trained furiously. He practiced until his hands bled, until his breath tore in his chest. He fought duel after duel, hungry for victory. He won many. But the more he won, the more restless he became. One summer, after weeks of relentless training, Musashi collapsed by a riverbank. His body refused to rise. His spirit felt crushed. He was burning out, though the term did not exist in those days. An old monk found him and carried him to a nearby temple. When Musashi regained consciousness, he tried to rise, but the monk stopped him. "You wield your sword like a man drowning," the monk said. "I train because I must improve," Musashi replied. "And yet your body is broken, your mind clouded. Do you call that improvement?" Musashi did not answer. The monk placed a cup of tea beside him. A sword is not always swung. Sometimes it rests in its scabbard, maintaining its edge. You, however, strike wildly. You exhaust yourself. Soon, you will be unable to lift your blade. Musashi felt the words slice through him sharper than steel. The monk continued, "Listen carefully, warrior. There are 3 rules to never burning out. Learn them, and you will master not only your sword, but your life." Musashi sat straight. "Rule 1, the monk said. Cut away the unnecessary." He held up a branch heavy with excess twigs. "You swing wildly because your heart carries too many branches. Fear of failure, desire for praise, anger, pride, anxiety. These make your path heavy. Cut them." He snapped the extra twigs off the branch until only the main stem remained. "This is the way of the sword and the way of life." Musashi nodded slowly. "Rule 2, the monk said. Move with rhythm, not force." "Rhythm?" Musashi repeated. "Yes. Everything, breath, battle, work, rest, flows in cycles. Burnout comes when you reject rhythm and try to go straight through the wall. But a master moves with the rhythm of day and night, effort and ease." The monk mimicked waves rising and falling. A warrior who ignores rhythm snaps like a blade left in the fire too long. Musashi bowed his head. He knew he had been violating this rule for years. "And now rule 3, the monk said softly. Strengthen the spirit by widening your way." Musashi frowned. "Widen it? How?" "You train only the sword." "But Musashi, a narrow life becomes a prison. When one path consumes you, you burn out. But when you cultivate multiple arts, painting, farming, archery, poetry, your spirit breathes. Your mind shifts. You become whole." The monk looked into the distance. "Musashi, do you want to be strong?" "Truly strong." "Yes," the young warrior replied. "Then know this. A single skill cannot carry the weight of your entire soul." The words struck Musashi deeper than any duel. The monk continued caring for him for many days. Musashi healed not just physically, but mentally. He began practicing calligraphy, carving wood, studying the wind, walking mountains, meditating by rivers. His swordsmanship improved not because he trained harder, but because he trained wider. He became free, balanced, whole. And in time, he became unstoppable, not because he fought constantly, but because he mastered the art of not burning out. 3. Back on the mountain. Master Daisuke closed the book. Akira sat stunned. The forest seemed quieter than before. "Do you understand?" the master asked. Akira nodded slowly. "I think so," but the old man tapped his forehead. "Understanding is not enough. You must apply Musashi's method. Otherwise it is just ink on paper." Akira took a breath. "What must I do, master?" The master stood. "We will begin with the 3 rules. 4. Rule 1. Cut away the unnecessary." Master Daisuke led Akira to a thick bush at the edge of the path. He handed him a small pruning knife. "Trim it." Akira began cutting, but he cut everything, every branch, every leaf, hacking blindly. The master grabbed his wrist. "Not like that." Watch. He removed only a few branches, leaving the structure balanced. "You are doing too much in your work, Akira. Too much detail no one will notice. Too much time wasted on perfection instead of purpose." Akira swallowed hard. He knew it was true. "What must I cut away?" Akira asked. The master lifted a finger. "Your fear of disappointing others. Another, your obsession with speed. Another, your shame for resting." Akira looked down. These fears had ruled him for months. Burnout, the master said softly, comes from carrying burdens you do not need. Rule 2. Move with rhythm. They continued walking until they reached a small river. "Sit by the water," the master said. Akira obeyed. "Watch its movement. Tell me what you see." "It flows," Akira said. "Always." "Does it rush every moment?" "No. Sometimes it slows. Sometimes it deepens. Sometimes it swirls." "And does the river ever burn out?" Akira smiled faintly. "No." "Exactly," the master said. "Because it flows with rhythm. You carve like a man sprinting through a lifetime. But a master, he breathes. He rests between cuts. He works when the mind is clear. He steps back when the mind clouds." Akira watched the river. For the first time in months, he felt peace. 6. Rule 3. Widen the way. Master Daisuke took him to a clearing where several wooden stumps stood. Carve one, the master said, handing him a knife. But I have no design, Akira protested. Good. Today you will carve without purpose. Akira hesitated, then began. At first, his mind reflexively returned to the festival statues, symmetry, smoothness, precision, but the master stopped him. No, carve for joy, not for outcome. Akira let his hand relax. His strokes became playful, experimental. He carved shapes with no meaning. He carved corners and curves simply because they felt good to carve. Minutes passed, then an hour, then more. When he stepped back, he laughed. The carving was rough, chaotic, strange, but beautiful in its own untamed way. That, the master said, is widening the way. Not every stroke must serve a purpose. Not every day must be productive. You must feed your spirit with many streams, not just one. Musashi painted. Musashi gardened. Musashi meditated. Musashi wrote poetry. This balance made him unbreakable. Akira breathed deeply. He felt lighter. 7. The return. When they returned to the village that evening, Akira walked into his workshop with fresh eyes. He looked at the half-finished statues and realized how much unnecessary detail he had been forcing. He saw where he had. A person who does not burn out cannot be stopped. Akira felt the truth settle in him like a seed ready to grow. He had not just avoided burnout. He had begun a new life. A life of mastery, flow, and inner strength. A life walked on the way of Musashi.